Good morning. Today we build a giant fortress looming over our waterfall, and the village gets news from the capital. Welcome back to MorningCraft. So, a few episodes ago we laid out a design for a fortress, and part of it sits over this waterfall. And I added a little more detail to those designs, but it's time to bring them to fruition. We have this measly water source, which I'm going to upgrade. So let's go. I started off by upgrading the water source to this huge stream, and that flows all the way down into the lake. I'm probably going to do a little bit more terraforming on the left bank of this river at some point. But for now, this massively increases the size and scale of this waterfall. So with the waterfall in tip-top condition, it's time to get back to the fortress. I increased the wall heights to give this a real sense of scale, and you can sort of see what we're going to be working with here. We've got two main towers and then a few smaller platforms around them. And with just a little bit more work, I've added some definition to all of these towers. We've got some balconies, some ledges and some stairs. And we got a little bit of flooring in the form of some spruce planks. And now it's all lit up and we've got a few more window carve-outs. And the fortress is starting to take shape. But before we can finish this off and move over to another section of the fortress, let's take a look at the story.
We have news from the capital. The high priest was wrapped in a plot to overthrow the king and has been deposed. The king and queen are greatly appreciative of our efforts and are coming to visit the Vale. It's been a long journey for them, but they're halfway here. They'll be at Lad again by Friday, and this time next week they should arrive. Our town refurbishment came at a good time, but this hearth is far too small to host royalty. Harlan Ironshield has agreed to host the royal caravan in his newly constructed fortress, and Abbot Theron has agreed to host the king and queen, plus their guards in the monastery. Make your preparations. We want to leave the king and queen with a good impression.
Okay, and we're back to work on the fortress. You can see I've added a whole new tower on top of the left section, and I've also added an archery range to the tower on the right. Well, it's now on the left. Camera's spinning. You know what I mean. This is somewhere for the soldiers to train, and I'm actually quite pleased with this design. The Iron Shields proudly fly their banner next to that of their home, the Thildrim Vale. And I added this extra protection to the archery range, so if anyone's a bad shot, it doesn't fly down into the rest of the village. Imagine just being a farmer and then you just get hit by an arrow from a fortress. It's not even a real soldier, it's just some guy training. Anyway, you can see I've added some extra platforms to these walls that run all the way to the monastery. And just a reminder that our Abbey Tower competition comes to a close on the 15th of January. So if you haven't submitted a design, make sure to do that. We've still got such a lot of work to do on the fortress, but we're going to build it up slowly and over the course of many episodes. If you build it all at once, you sort of lose that connection to what's going on around it. Rather than that extra staircase being built around the local farm, you end up having to build the local farm around the fortress. But one extra thing I'm going to do this episode is this. I'm going to add a nice little tower, and I'm going to clean up that walkway leading to the centre of their base. It's not really the centre anymore, but it's the bit we started with, that deep slate building there. And here we have it. There's the bridge, a more fleshed out wall, and of course our completed fortress. I think a few more details and floorings, and this would actually be a usable fortress. Of course, I still want to add a ton of stuff, but I think for now this is approaching a point where we could call it a work in progress and it wouldn't look like an eyesore. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you've had a good morning, and I'll see you in the next episode on Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. Anyway, there's a quote. Here we go. Quote. Hope it's a good one.